Men over 50, let me ask you something real quick. You sit down at the dinner table, look at your plate, and there they are, fresh green vegetables. The very foods we've been told our whole lives are good for us. But what if I told you that some of these so-called healthy vegetables could actually be working against you, especially when it comes to your kidneys? It sounds crazy, right? For decades, doctors and nutritionists have praised vegetables as the safest, smartest choice. And while that's true for the most part, not every vegetable is your friend, at least not if you're over 50 and trying to protect your kidney health. That's exactly what we're breaking down in this video: the 5 common vegetables that could secretly harm your kidneys, and the science behind why they're risky. Don't worry, we're not here to scare you. We're here to give you the knowledge you need to make smarter choices for yourself and for the people you love. Because the truth is, about 37 million people in the US are already at risk for kidney problems, and most don't even know it yet. The good news? You don't have to be one of them. Stick with me until the end, and you'll know exactly which vegetables to be cautious about and how to safeguard your health moving forward. 1. Potatoes. Let's start with one of the most common foods almost everyone eats: potatoes. They're on our plates in one form or another: mashed, baked, fried, or in chips. They taste good, they fill you up, and they've been a comfort food for decades. But here's what many men over 50 don't realize: potatoes can be a hidden danger for your kidneys. The main problem is something called oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plants, and potatoes are loaded with them. When oxalates build up in your body, they can stick to calcium in your urine. And when that happens, crystals start to form inside your kidneys. Over time, those crystals can grow and turn into kidney stones. If you've ever experienced a kidney stone before, you know how painful that can be. It's not just a discomfort, it can feel unbearable. And once you've had them, you're more likely to get them again. That's why the National Kidney Foundation warns people with a history of kidney stones to be very careful with foods high in oxalates, like potatoes. But that's not the only issue. Potatoes are also high in potassium. Normally, potassium is a good thing. It helps your muscles, including your heart, work the way they should. But if your kidneys are struggling, or you already have high creatinine levels, too much potassium in your blood can be dangerous. It can cause a condition called hyperkalemia, where potassium levels get too high, and that can put your heart and overall health at serious risk. Now, does that mean you have to cut out potatoes completely? Not necessarily. Moderation is key. If your doctor hasn't restricted you, eating small amounts every now and then is usually fine. But here's a smart swap: sweet potatoes. Even though they belong to the same family, they're much friendlier to your kidneys. Sweet potatoes have a lower glycemic index, meaning they don't spike your blood sugar as quickly as regular potatoes. And since high blood sugar and insulin resistance are major risk factors for kidney damage, that's a huge plus. On top of that, sweet potatoes are full of antioxidants like beta-carotene, which help fight oxidative stress, a type of cell damage that can slowly wear down your kidneys over time. Think of it this way: if regular potatoes load your kidneys with more work, sweet potatoes give them a bit of protection. Choosing sweet potatoes more often could be a simple change that lowers your risk of kidney problems in the long run. 2. Tomatoes. Now let's talk about a vegetable that almost everyone has in their kitchen: tomatoes. They show up everywhere: salads, sandwiches, pasta sauces, soups, even your morning juice. For most of us, they seem harmless, even healthy. But here's what many men over 50 don't realize: tomatoes are packed with something called oxalates. These are natural compounds found in many plant foods, and while they're not dangerous for everyone, they can be a real problem if your kidneys are already under pressure. Why? Because oxalates love to bind with calcium inside your body. And when that happens in your urinary tract, those little bonds can turn into sharp crystals. Over time, those crystals can grow into kidney stones, hard, painful stones that can block your urine flow and leave you doubled over in pain. Just 1 cup of raw tomatoes can carry around 5 to 10 milligrams of oxalates, depending on how ripe they are. That might not sound like much, but if you're eating tomatoes often, or if you enjoy tomato-based foods like spaghetti sauce, tomato soup, or even ketchup, all that oxalate adds up quickly. And it's not just the oxalates that make tomatoes risky. They're also acidic. High acidity in your urine creates the perfect environment for crystals to stick together and form stones, especially when oxalates are already floating around. So, when you mix high oxalates with high acidity, you've got a recipe for kidney trouble. The good news is, you don't have to cut out tomatoes completely if you love them. There are smarter ways to enjoy them without putting so much pressure on your kidneys. One simple trick is cooking them. When you lightly stew or cook tomatoes, the heat helps break down some of those oxalates, making them less likely to cause problems later on. Another helpful tip is to pair tomatoes with calcium-rich foods like cheese or yogurt. When calcium binds with oxalates in your stomach, it prevents them from traveling to your kidneys in the first place. This way, the oxalates leave your body safely without ever turning into stones. But here's the bigger point. If you're a man over 50, your kidneys are already working harder than they used to. Age, diet, and other health issues like high blood pressure or diabetes can all put extra stress on these small but powerful organs. So even everyday foods like tomatoes deserve a second look. They may seem small and harmless, but eaten the wrong way or in large amounts, they can make a big difference in how well your kidneys hold up over the years. By knowing this, you're not just protecting yourself from painful stones, you're giving your kidneys the chance to keep doing their job day after day, filtering your blood and keeping you alive and healthy. If this message touched something in you, write just one word below that captures how you feel right now. I'll read it and know that your voice matters here. Sometimes one word is enough to remind us that we're not alone. 3. Spinach. Spinach is one of those vegetables that people call a superfood. You see it everywhere in smoothies, salads, and diet plans. And to be fair, spinach is packed with nutrition. It has vitamins A, C, and K along with iron, magnesium, fiber, and powerful antioxidants that help the body fight damage from free radicals. For many people, it seems like the perfect food to eat every day. But here's what most men over 50 don't hear often enough. Spinach is also one of the highest oxalate foods out there. And that can quietly put your kidneys at risk. Oxalate is a natural compound in plants, but in spinach the levels are especially high. When oxalate enters the body, it looks for calcium to connect with, and once the two meet, they form sharp crystals. These crystals can build up in the kidneys, slowly clumping together into kidney stones. If you've ever had kidney stones before, you know how painful they are. People often describe it as one of the worst pains imaginable. And once you get one, your chance of getting another later in life increases dramatically. Studies have shown this link clearly. In fact, research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets high in oxalates raise the risk of kidney stones. The National Kidney Foundation suggests that people prone to stones should limit oxalates to about 40–50 milligrams a day? But here's the catch. A single serving of spinach can contain several times that amount. That means even a small bowl can quietly push you over the limit without you realizing it. Now, does this mean you should never touch spinach again? Not exactly. Spinach does have benefits. But for men over 50, moderation is key. The real danger is in eating it every day in large amounts, like adding multiple handfuls into a smoothie or making spinach your main vegetable at dinner. Over time, that kind of habit puts unnecessary stress on the kidneys. There are smart ways to lower the risk without cutting it out completely. Pair spinach with calcium-rich foods such as cheese, yogurt, or fortified plant milk. The calcium binds with oxalates in your stomach before they reach the kidneys. Another tip is to cook spinach with a little lemon juice. The citric acid helps block the oxalate from turning into crystals, and it adds a bright flavor to the dish. And maybe most important, rotate your greens. Don't rely only on spinach. Mix in kale, lettuce, or bok choy, which are much lower in oxalates and easier on the kidneys. The bottom line is simple. Spinach is not the enemy, but it can become harmful if you overdo it, especially as you age. Your kidneys work hard every single day to keep your body balanced. Giving them a break by keeping your oxalate intake under control is one of the best gifts you can give your long-term health. 4. Beets. Beets are one of those vegetables that get praised everywhere. You see them in health magazines, in smoothie recipes, and even recommended by doctors because of their rich color and high nutrient content. And yes, they do have real benefits, like helping with blood pressure and giving you natural antioxidants. But here's the side of the story most people never hear. For your kidneys, especially if you're over 50, beets might not be the safe food you thought they were. One reason is because beets are packed with oxalates, compounds that can increase your risk of kidney stones. But that's not all. They also contain something called betaine. At first glance, betaine doesn't sound harmful at all. It's actually a naturally occurring compound found in many foods, and in small amounts, it can even support overall health. The problem comes when you consume too much of it. Inside your body, betaine gets converted into a substance called trimethylamine, or TMA. When your liver processes TMA, it creates another compound called TMAO. And here's the catch. High levels of TMAO have been linked to kidney stress, kidney stones, and even long-term kidney complications. Studies from respected institutions like the National Institutes of Health and the American Society of Nephrology have confirmed this connection. GailMet. The fact is, for example, one study published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine found that participants who drank beetroot juice showed a noticeable increase in urinary oxalates, which are one of the main building blocks of kidney stones. In simple terms, the more oxalates and calcium that build up in your urine, the higher your chances of forming those painful crystals we call kidney stones. And to make things worse, too much betaine can also encourage dehydration, another major risk factor for kidney stone formation. So what does this mean for you? Should you never eat beets again? Not necessarily. The key is moderation and preparation. Eating raw beets in large amounts is the riskiest because the oxalates and betaine are more concentrated. But when you roast beets at a moderate temperature, many of these compounds break down, making them easier for your kidneys to handle. Another smart strategy is to pair roasted beets with foods high in citrate like lemon, lime, or leafy greens, which can help block calcium oxalate crystals from forming in the first place. That way you can still enjoy the benefits of beets without putting your kidneys in danger. 5. Pumpkin. Pumpkin is one of those foods that feels comforting, right? It shows up in soups, stews, pies, and even snacks. It's rich, it's tasty, and for many of us, it's tied to good memories at the dinner table. But here's something most people don't realize. Pumpkin isn't always a safe choice if you're worried about your kidneys. Yes, it's loaded with nutrients and has its place in a healthy diet, but if you're over 50 or dealing with kidney issues, you need to pay attention to what's inside this popular vegetable. Pumpkin contains natural compounds called purines. Now, purines by themselves don't sound dangerous, but when your body breaks them down, they turn into uric acid. Normally, your kidneys filter uric acid out, no problem. But if you eat too many foods that are rich in purines, like pumpkin, uric acid can start to build up. And when that happens, it increases your risk of kidney stones, something you definitely don't want to deal with, especially as you get older. And that's not the only issue. Let's talk about pumpkin seeds. I know people love to roast them, toss them on salads, or eat them as a snack. But pumpkin seeds are loaded with calcium oxalate. This is the same compound that's directly linked to kidney stone formation. Combine that with the purines already in pumpkin, and you've got a double hit against your kidneys if you're not careful. The National Kidney Foundation even points out that moderation is key here. If your kidneys are healthy, a little pumpkin here and there is usually fine. But if you've had kidney stones before, or you're already managing kidney disease, eating too much pumpkin or snacking on the seeds could make things worse. So, what can you do if you love pumpkin? The good news is you don't have to give it up completely. There are smart ways to enjoy it without putting extra stress on your kidneys. For example, when cooking with pumpkin, try removing the seeds instead of eating them. That alone reduces the oxalate content of your meal. Another tip is to add pumpkin into dishes like soups or stews, where it's mixed with other ingredients instead of eating it in huge portions by itself. This helps dilute the load on your kidneys while still letting you enjoy the flavor you love. The bottom line is this: pumpkin may seem harmless, but for men over 50 who are already at higher risk of kidney problems, it can quietly contribute to trouble if you go overboard. Being aware of these risks doesn't mean you have to avoid pumpkin forever, but it does mean you should enjoy it with care. Small changes in how you prepare and eat it could save you from big kidney problems down the road. So there you have it, 5 common vegetables that might look harmless on your plate, but can quietly work against your kidney health if you're not careful. Now, don't get me wrong, these foods aren't bad in every situation. They all have valuable nutrients and they can still be part of a healthy diet. The real key is balance. Eating them in moderation and knowing how to prepare them in smarter ways can make all the difference for your kidneys, especially if you're a man over 50. Your kidneys have worked hard for you all your life, and now it's your turn to give them the care they deserve. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. Pay attention to what you eat. Keep things balanced, and your kidneys will thank you for it. I'd also love to hear from you. Have you ever struggled with kidney stones or kidney health issues? Which of these vegetables surprised you the most? Share your experience in the comments, because your story could help someone else watching this right now. And if you want to keep learning how to protect your kidneys and improve your overall health, don't stop here. Head over to the next video on our channel, where I'll walk you through some of the best kidney-friendly foods you can start adding to your meals today. You'll find the link down in the description and at the end of this video. If this content helped you, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us keep creating content that makes a real difference. Thanks for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.